Hi, my name is Doreen Ellen Beldotan. I should like to dedicate this video to my dear departed friend, member of the Israeli Parliament, Dr. Marina Solodkin, who, like her American counterpart, Nancy Schaefer, was a tireless and fearless campaigner against corruption of all kinds, particularly corruption in social services, and who, like Nancy Schaefer, died an untimely death yesterday at the age of 60. The cause of her death has not been determined. Herein I'm going to be speaking about the banking system and why it has to be dismantled, what the banking system is and what it's based on, and what it is existing in lieu of and occluding the expression of. Many people have understood that banking is a cult. In fact, it is. Few understand why it is a cult. Of course, the idea that fiat money has value is an occult idea, but it goes far deeper than that. And herein I'd like to speak about that. I want to give this information over before April comes around, at which time I'm going to be, please God, going to the Republic of Ireland, and before I walk into the belly of the beast of Christian Europe. I want to see to it that this information has been made available. After Hurricane Katrina, after Hurricane Sandy, I saw videos of my home neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I lived in Sheepshead Bay area, and people took videos of the floodwaters flowing out of Sheepshead Bay and inundating the streets. And I saw my building in the background of some of these videos, and like the floodwaters, my memory began to flood me. I never had an experience quite like that before. Suddenly I was remembering anyone that I ever cared about, down to the minutest detail. Person after person who I hadn't thought about, or who I think about only intermittently. Suddenly my mind was flooded with images of being with these people and what they meant to me. And I realized that even though I had not thought about them consciously for a very long time, I actually loved them more today than I did when I knew them almost 40 years ago in some cases. It was then that I began to understand what the memory is. I knew from my learning that all of the experiences of our lives and all our deeds are kept in a storehouse of some kind, in which they accrue interest, in which they ripen and come to fruition. But I imagined that storehouse was on some supernal level, in some completely abstract and transcendental realm. It was then that I began to realize that it was actually within our own memories that all of this is going on. And as I always do when I think I understand something, I look at the Hebrew and I ask myself whether or not what I think is the truth is actually written in the language or not. And if it's not written in Torah, then I've been wrong. And if it is written in Torah, then I've been right. In this case, I realized that what I had understood was not only written in Torah, it was one of the main lessons of what we would call Bereshit, Genesis. In Hebrew, we're taught that God created a human being, male and female. In Hebrew, the term is Zachar Nekeva, male and female. The root, Zayin Kaf Resh, which is the root of Zachar, male, is the very same root as the word Zachor, which means remember. Lizkor is to remember. Zachar also means he remembered. Nekeva, meaning female, comes from the root Nun Kuf Bet, which is an anagram of what would be transliterated into the letters B, N, and K, bank. What is being talked about is not only the giving birth that is enabled between a male and a female on the physical level, but also that which is stored in the memory bank. The banking system was designed very much like the memory bank, but it's an impure form of the memory bank. Much like scientists designed computers based on what they knew about human consciousness, those who devised the banking system built their system on what they knew about the memory. As in banks, there are different kinds of accounts. There are active accounts that we use for our everyday transactions. There are private accounts. Those are our private memories. There are joint accounts. Those are the memories that we have with others. There are closed accounts that are accruing interest. There are accounts in escrow. There are closed accounts. There are dormant accounts awaiting those who are the rightful owners to either claim them or not. And then there are closed accounts in our memories. When we experience something, we store that memory. It is a biological imprint. Those memories are actually living. And we use, again, the same Hebrew root to make a deposit as we do when a male impregnates a female. That root is pakad, pe kuf dalit. And the word nekev, which is bank, which is female, is contained within pakad. We say about a man entering a woman, shehu pakad da. We say about making a deposit into an account, mafkid, It's exactly the same root, just in different, what's called binyan, a different verb form. Our experiences are stored in our memory banks, where they grow interest. I assume that some accounts might be overdrawn as well. I don't understand that process. That part of it hasn't been shown to me. I do understand about the accounts that have debits and credits, but which are not overdrawn to the point of huge debt. I assume that those are people who are in huge moral debt, and thank God I don't understand what kind of situation their souls are in. The banking system, having been built on the memory bank system, took on a huge role in our lives, just the way our consciousness is a huge factor of our lives. It's ambient, it's everywhere. There's nothing that you can do that is not involved in consciousness. And the model became also overweening. If we are ever to learn how to use our minds correctly and be able to deposit and withdraw from our memory banks wisely and well, we are going to have to dismantle the banking system, which exists as a simulation, as a model of our memory banks. It is the nature of human consciousness that when it's presented with something that is like something that it needs, something good, something healthy, we become addicted to the unhealthy imitation. So that if somebody is drinking stuff like artificial drinks and so forth and so on, they're going to become addicted to them, and they're going to forget about the real orange juice or the real grape juice, which they are an imitation of. The imitation starts to not only be accepted as real, but it becomes addictive. Well, this is exactly what happened with the banking system. Because we all know that the banking system is our own consciousness, whether we know it consciously or subconsciously is another matter. But we feel how compelling it is, and we feel how ambient it is. We become addicted to it. We become enslaved to it. And in the becoming enslaved to the simulation, the model, the reenactment, the ceremony, we forget what it is that it is symbolizing. If we are ever to learn to use our minds and our memories correctly and creatively and in a holy and in a society building way, we are going to first have to clear away the simulation, the representation, the unhealthy thing that reminds us of the real thing. This is why it is imperative that the banking system not only be reformed, but that it be dismantled. it is that which is holding us in thrall, that is preventing us from using our God-given consciousness and being able to access the treasure troves of wisdom and holiness that reside within our memories, and use that to the benefit of humanity at large. Thank you for listening.